We're going to be installing a direct mount plantation shutter now, and we use a direct mount when it's a single panel or a double panel. It's my favourite. Tools we need is a metal ruler, a pencil, a little drill for a pilot hole, and our cordless with the PH2 bit. So what we'll need to complete the installation is the outer portion of the hinge screws, the hinge pins. These are called L striker plates, and the L striker plate screws just there. So my first step here is just to measure the distance from the top of the stile to the hinge. So as we know, a plantation shutter always dresses in the up position. So that's closed and that's open. So we know this is the top, and I've got my metal ruler and I'm just going to measure from the top to the center of that hinge there, and that's 117 millimeters. So 117 millimeters is what we need. So now we're just going to mark off that 117 mils. So we're going to put our tape measure inside our reveal, and we're just going to mark 117 mils. So we've marked our 117 mils right there, which is the center. Now we just need to mark out those two oval shaped hinge positions. So now using my little pilot hole, I'm just going to go right in the middle of there, and I'm just going to start it very slightly. Just go in a tiny bit. Makes that screw a little bit easier to get started. So now we're just going to screw off the hinge, but we're not going to do this screw tight. And we do need to be able to move it up and down for our adjustment. So we're just going to go in the middle, and we're just going to give ourselves that up and down movement still. Let's go ahead and get this top pin installed, but remember it's still a bit of a balancing act at this point until we get the hinge, the bottom hinge in. So just keep it balanced and just be mindful of the weight of the plantation shutter. So if you see, I've got to spin that bottom hinge around, and then I'll present it. Like that, the bottom hinge is in the right spot, and get that hinge installed. Doesn't have to go all the way, just get it there so the top part of our shutter is now installed. Now let's get this bottom hinge installed, and we're just going to use the middle of the oval shaped hole, and we're not going to do it tight, just like that. So you can see now our shutter is become secure. So now let's install this screw in the middle of the oval shaped hole at the bottom here. Again, we're not going to do it tight because we still want to be able to lift it up and down at this point. So using those oval shaped holes, we're just going to adjust the height of the plantation shutter panel. And once we're happy with the height, we're going to put a screw in the center hole, the round hole, and that will lock our height and make sure everything stays nice and level. So let's go and do that. So that was nice and easy. Everything's coming along really good. So we're about to install our L striker plates, which is the final step, and we need to know the thickness of the stile. So we're going to measure it from the front to the back, and I can see that's 27 millimeters. We need to put the striker plate 27 mils inside the recess for the shutter to close up against. We're going to mark that size at the top and the bottom of the reveal, and we are nearly done. So that's my little mate, the Direct Mount Plantation Shutter. Really simple. If you need any help, just reach out at iSleek Blinds.